What's up, beautiful peeps? CB Jesus here. This video is going to be a special video because you get to look into my life as what I did and still do to this day. But this was before the pandemic happened. So this was in 2018, and this was a really cool project that I actually got to find out what the project was while I was being casted, which is normally I do a lot of research, but this one was actually given to me to where my friends, Jamie and Rose Locke at CL Casting, they landed this really cool gig and they sent me an email and they were like, you would be amazing at this. You're all the prerequisites, the automatic firearms, the stunts, how I look. They're like, please come and do this with us in Atlanta. It was so awesome. Because by this time I've had a really good built up relationship with Jamie and Rose Locke. I mean Jamie Cartret and Rose Locke with CL Casting. Because they were the ones that I first started working with in 2013 on Fast and Furious 7, And Swifty was part of that. Yee-hoo! And so this was like a little boy's dream come true to be part of this franchise. And I pinched myself every time before I would go on this set. I mean, this was a true blessing to be part of this franchise and a true blessing to be part of this project. It's Godzilla, King of the Monsters that I was on. It was an amazing film, and you can check it out now on Max and also on Netflix, which is really cool. In the movie theaters, a lot of people, didn't go see it. I don't know if it was just because the first Godzilla with Bryan Cranston didn't do too well either in theaters. I'm not sure. But regardless, the franchise kept living on. And Michael Daugherty was an amazing director, and he allowed the creatures to all come to life in this one, where King Ghidorah, which I got the honor of putting in a bomb inside a little ice hole, inside an ice cavern that Charles Dance played Jonah. He was my eco-terrorist leader. And man, it was so cool. The first day on set, I met Charles Dance, and he always told me a couple of days later in breakfast, he was like, when I dressed him, I always called him Charles. He's like, don't call me Charles. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry if I offended you. And he's like, no, you need to call me Charlie. I like Charlie. It's just is cooler. You know what I mean? And so when I'm talking to him, he's got a really cool Pink Floyd t-shirt on, and we're just chilling, and we're just like grabbing all of our cool, goodies, because they treated us like kings and queens in the crafting department and also the breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But what was amazing about this was not just the cast. I mean, I worked with Charles Dance. I worked with Millie Bobby Brown. And it was really cool about Millie because she was in between her Stranger Things, I think between 2 and 3, season 2 and 3 at that point. So it was really cool to have her always focused on our world instead of her having to be in Hawkins, in her mind. So it was really cool. She dedicated every day. She was amazing on set. Really cool to work with. We had some fun times. I mean, we were all family on that set. Vera Farmiga is also involved. Ken Watanabe, I think I pronounced that right the second time. Also my cool Merc family. I got to meet my buddy Jesse, who plays Merc number 1 with lines, and then I believe There was my boy Zach, who ended up getting bumping on lines. And what I did was I was considered super featured. And it was really cool because I got paid a really great rate. And it was over 8 hours. Every day we filmed 15-hour days. So, oh my gosh, after the 8 hour, we get overtime in Georgia. Then after 10 hours, we get double overtime in Georgia. And then when we hit that 15th, it's called the Golden Goose Hour, the 15th goes to quadruple. So what Michael would do for us every day, he'd be like, man, these guys are busting their asses with their guns, and doing their thing and all that stuff. And, I was an eco-terrorist, so I was a faction of a mercenary group, which was like awesome to be a part of. And it was really cool because when I first got there, going back to day one, they costumed us immediately. They set us up. They started sending pictures directly to the director and producer. And then also the first AD. Well, I had no idea that we were about to roll in and meet those same people that were going to be in charge of us for the next, man. So Godzilla King of the Monsters shot for about 4 months, on and off. I would go for like 1.5 to 2 weeks on, and then I would have a 1 week break, and then I would go back and film another 1.5 or 2 weeks on, and then I would have a 1 week break. Filmed an amazing amount of time on this because the mercs are everywhere. We're in all the worlds. When you see the film, or if you've already seen the film, you'll notice that Mothra is in China, right? And you might not know that, but they do say, the jungles of somewhere in South China, I think. And I think they actually created a name because Michael Dougherty and the producers were all about creating names and all that stuff through the Godzilla universe. They really stuck to everything they possibly could do, and they made it really safe for us on set. I was amazed about the safety on set. It was definitely one of the best, amazing experiences I've ever had on a film set. And it might be to where I was on it for so long, that's why it was so awesome to be a part, because we were all family. And man, I got to be not in stunts, but I got to be working with stunts like I was always, shooting and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And I learned tactical military training 2 weeks before the first day on set. So they paid me really well for tactical training. That was a full 4 days. And I got to work with, I can't remember his name right now, but he was in charge of Apocalypse Now. He is a 2-time Vietnam vet, war vet, and he works with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone on a lot of different projects as well. So it's really cool to learn everything that I learned, because now I take my tactical military service to where I can actually do those things with those weapons. I take that school, and now I'm qualified to go on any set, and I have that experience. So that was a blessing for me to be a part of that. Also, while I'm getting my costume, when I'm going to the place to pick up my guns, right? The costumer walks by and he pulls me aside and he is like, hey, JD, because he knew me from past experiences. I think we worked with him on Fast 8, Fast 7. He was costumer there. But what happened was he had paid homage to his best friend who had just passed away as a costumer, a lead costumer, that was the lead costumer of Red Dawn at the time. And what was amazing was, I didn't know this until my buddy comes up to me and he's like, JD, come here for a second. And so he pulls me aside, right, as they're looking at the weapons. And it was really cool. He's like, by the way, your costume, your uniform is dedicated to my best friend. And I said, so what's going on with the pattern? Because nobody else has this pattern on this film. Like, I was the only one in this pattern. And it was Red Dawn, Cuban, Afghanistan, what are they called? Not threads. They're called, military issued. Military issues, right? They were military issues that were in honor of the Red Dawn costumer. It was amazing. So when I first get to meet Michael Dougherty and the lead AD, the first AD, Lee, they're like looking us up and down, right? And there's like 20 dudes and 20 women. So there's like, no, I'm sorry, there was 20 dudes and 10 women, or maybe 15 or 16 women. I can't remember. It wasn't balanced. And I was like, oh, that's kind of odd. They didn't balance us. But they ended up balancing us, while we were shooting and everything worked out well. And a lot of cool things happened. But at that moment, Michael Dougherty looked at me and pointed at me. And he smiled at me and he looked over at Lee and he was like, man, whoa. So then I get back to where we're about to start filming in the later afternoon of the day. Our call time was early morning, but it took this long to get going, as always, right? This is first day of production. And so we go back and I find that my number on the board, it's called the Dream Board, Storyboard of Film and TV Productions, right? And my number changed from I think I was like 9 when I originally went in, and it became number 2. And so I went to the costumer and I'm like, why is my number changing? And she says to me, you're number 2 on the board now. Now that they've seen you all costume up and everything else, that means they love your look and you're number 2. Someone else is number 1, but you're in the top 2. Doesn't matter. So what was really cool is throughout the weeks, I was flip-flopping from 2 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 1, 1 to 2. And then my friend told me, a PA told me, and she's like, wow, you're in line for lines, JD. And I was like, why are you telling me this? Like, I'm not supposed to know this. And she's like, well, I talked to the second, and the second wanted you to know, because you're doing a great job, and they want you to continue doing a great job and everything else. And I was like, look, if I get lines, I get lines. And my friend Melissa was like, no, you don't understand. If you get lines, they're paying for you. And they're going to bump you up, SAG, right? Automatic. And I'm like, yeah, I know how it works. But here's the deal. If it's supposed to happen, it's supposed to happen. That's just how film and TV works. If and when, or if you already are in this industry, when you get on set, don't go towards the camera unless they direct you towards the camera. This is a little tidbit, okay? Let the camera come to you. Once they see that you're not trying to hog the camera if you haven't been on set yet, right? Act cool, calm, and collective, and you'll get more respect that day from a film crew than any other day. Like, seriously. They'll bring you in and they'll hook you up. And then they'll be like, oh man, this guy or girl didn't make a mistake yesterday. Let's roll. Then all of a sudden, you get to come in recurring extra, right? So your career starts kind of floating, right? Then all of a sudden, you look unique enough that you start getting featured roles at higher pay. Then finally, you go into the indie world, or you bust your ass and you automatically start getting speaking roles because you're talented enough and you're unique looking enough and you're awesome and you're friendly and you're amazing to be around. Because crew members and directors and producers don't like negativity. You know what I'm saying? So with Godzilla, there was all this great positivity. Amazing. Man, we were like so cool. Check this out. I've been collecting, things that I see of Godzilla, as you can tell also behind me as well. Godzilla, King of the Monsters. This is the original King of the Monsters way back, Japanese style. This is King Ghidorah. This is the three-headed dragon that is like one of the most amazing villains in Godzilla history, if not the ultimate villain of Godzilla in Godzilla's history. That is King Ghidorah. Every time you damage one of his fucking heads, it grows right back. And each head has different personalities, right? They're not all the same. Now, what Michael, as a director, and also getting involved with the creative aspect of King of the Monsters, they waited to release Mega Godzilla in King Kong versus Godzilla, which was the next film after the film that I was blessed to be in. So, King of the Monsters had King Ghidorah, Rodan, Mothra, and Godzilla, but also they had different other creatures and they had some hidden Easter eggs. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this dinosaur legendary creature of an adversary ally of Godzilla in some of the comics and some of the movies. I'm going to try to pronounce this word again. Anguirus? Anguirus? Maybe. Anyway, you can see his skeletal remains next to the temple of Godzilla in King of the Monsters in the part that you go underwater. This film is an amazing roller coaster ride from beginning to end. And what's amazing about, and so fucking cool, is that Godzilla didn't get good ratings when it first came out in theaters. But now, on Netflix, it was in the #1 most watched film when Netflix released it a couple of months ago. And so what happened was David Zaslav sold off some properties to Netflix and to some other streaming channels, right? Disney Plus and stuff like that, to try to generate money within Warner Brothers. So you can see Godzilla now as top 10 movie on Max. That's what it was the other day. And you can see it on Godzilla King of the Monsters on Netflix. So check it out. It's amazing. Now, here's the deal. We thought that we were done filming. Okay? So we filmed starting in June of 2018, I believe. And we filmed until September. And then they took a second unit of stunt guys and other people to Mexico. And they did Rodan's like exterior shots and sequences and stuff like that, right? Okay. And then they shot some of like Mexico also in Atlanta. So it was kind of pretty cool because home base of King of the Monsters was Atlanta. We shot in this really cool factory, and of course, it's owned by the Japanese, right? And which is really freaking cool. It used to be a fiber optic plant, but now it still does some things, like a plant actually runs and there are workers in it. But it is so large of a complex it's in Norcross, Georgia, that we can film in other parts and areas. I mean, I filmed Fast 7 there. I filmed Fast 8 there. I filmed Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2 there. I filmed Godzilla King of the Monsters. And, that's what kind of collects me about that place. I think I filmed some other... I filmed... Miracle Workers, where I was featured with Najee. That was awesome.
Some of the Divergent films.
Oh yeah, I filmed Divergent there as well. Yep, I filmed Divergent 2 and 3 there. That's right. But it's this really cool place. And while we were filming, I gotta tell you some spooky stories, okay? This was a really spooky story. So, everybody knew that the place was haunted. Rumors were swirling that the place was haunted, okay? Well, while they're filming another scene, a few of us actually, mercs, are bored. So we go and we start hunting around the premises. Well, we go down to where our bunker is, where our bunker scene is being filmed, but underneath the bunker, down through another door that it says do not enter, we kind of creep down and start going down all the way down, right? And so we've got flashlights because it's dark. There's no electricity underneath working us at all, right? We got flashlights because we also had to have flashlights when we were going through the different changes of the different sets, because the sets were different. They were in the same area of the studios, but they were in separate areas as well. I don't know how to explain it, but when you're moving across sets, you have to be really careful where there's these big ass cables from all the fiber optics and the grip and all those cords that are all there with the electricians and everything. And so you have to have flashlights. If the PAs aren't with you, you can carry a flashlight, you know what I mean? And sometimes they would put flashlights on our costume. So like I had a really cool bulletproof vest, military issue, and then I had another vest put on me where it was Max, and it was awesome, right? And so I carried a AR-15 machine gun in that, and also I carried an Uzi in that as well. Well, let's see. I don't think on camera the Uzi shows up as much as the AR-15 machine gun. Regardless of the matter, what was really cool about this crazy story was this. We go through this door, and it's like time stood still. And it's creepy, man. It is an old-timey happy birthday party scene. And there's a happy birthday thing hung up, and there's some wicked, like eerie freaking like birthday like blowers and hats and like all this creepy stuff, man. And it freaked us out because once we went through that corridor of that door to the other side, I mean, our guns are not real. They're props, right? And so we can only fight a supernatural force, but so much regardless, right? We could feel our hair stand up. Zach, he's like 6'5", professional wrestler, former SWAT detective cop, and he looks at me and he's like, JD, let's get the fuck out of here. Like, we were like, we took pictures. Oh, creepy, man. That was a creepy story as well. And yeah, so until next time, I've got to show you a little bit more though, and this is going to open up one of the next videos in the future. But I got a pair of these the other day. My Godzilla versus Morphine Power Rangers. Yeah! Exactly. You know? Right? And so I was able to score a lot of comics and a lot of graphic novels that I'll be discussing in the future. Swifty's trying to say to me...
Weren't you Uncle JD?
So, there is another story about a really funny... Actually, man, we were like family, and it was really cool to where we're in the operations center, and this is like first day filming, maybe second day filming Millie Bobby Brown. And she plays the daughter of Vera Farmiga and Kyle Chandler's her father as well, and in the movie. And we're in this scene where Jonah and them are looking at these crazy freaking like plasma screens where video is going on where you can see like it's all about Monarch, right? And I didn't know that we were in the bunker of, Monarch. I mean, nobody tells us anything. They just told us that we were eco-terrorists and that we were on Godzilla, King of the Monsters. What was really cool was we were all like chilling, and I was walking by, and wherever Millie Bobby Brown ended, I ended. And so so what ended up happening was when we would end, she would always be like, all right, JD, I'm going to go out and get some crafty. You want anything? And I'd be like, no, I'm going to go this way to get this crafty. You go that way to get the crafty. We'll see what we can get. And then we'll swap and do all that stuff, right? And see what goes on. Well, she would come back before she wanted to like film. She came back to me in this funny mode, man. It was just hilarious.
What's crafty?
She's like, Uncle JD. It was hilarious. She called me Uncle JD. It was so funny. She's like, can you check my teeth? And she goes like this. And she's all, it was adorable. I am so proud of you, Millie Bobby Brown. I am so proud of everything you've accomplished in such an amazing, beautiful pathway in your career. And it was a great honor to work with you and film with you. And, great honor to be called Uncle JD. Hope to see you in the near future, probably in Atlanta or maybe somewhere else. Who knows where we're going to film next, right? But yeah, that's a little story. There's some more cool stories. I could go into where I was on a bathroom trip and I was coming back, and it was creepy, man. You have to go down these long hallways. I mean, literally, all I thought about was Halloween 2 at this place. Going down these long, wide hallways, and the fucking lighting was the fluorescent lighting that you see in hospitals and schools, right? I mean, they were all like flickering and not flickering and everything else, right? And so I'm coming out of the bathroom, and Vera Farmiga is walking towards me. And I'm like, I know you're used to this because of, The Conjuring, but you might want to watch out going down there. Do you want a chaperone? Because it's kind of spooky going down there. And she's like, nah, JD, I got this handled. I mean, just like straight up, I got this handled. And then she smiled. It was hilarious, and we had a good laugh, and it was freaking hilarious. And what was really cool was in the scene where we're in the bunker, because I'm in like 2 different bunkers, but there's a scene where one of the characters betrays us, right? And in that scene, I was able to play eyeline, and Vera played, she worked eyeline with me, and I was able to work eyeline with her because I was holding up the gun right at her from about, probably 4 feet away, so it was safe. But we were still close because one of the characters makes a grave mistake with Jonah, our boss. And so you're going to have to learn that when you watch it. Or you already know that because King of the Monsters. But that's some stories that I had to tell you from behind the scenes, Godzilla, King of the Monsters. I was really, really honored to be on that film. And because, dreams do come true in Hollywood. I mean, I never would have thought that I would be part of the Fast and Furious franchise, the Godzilla franchise, the Walking Dead franchise, okay? The Office Christmas Party, amazing R-rated Christmas jam party, right?
Marvel.
Marvel.
DC.
Right? Twice. DC Comics, right? Because I'm part of Black Adam, and also, Doom Patrol, and with Marvel, I'm part of Ant-Man. It's been a true blessing. I looked in 2019, and it might have been just before, it was March 2020 when the pandemic hit, right? And I had to ask for funding, because everything shut down. And I went to this really cool place called the Actors Fund out of New York City. And I had to put together everything that I had done in my acting career in, check stubs, to prove that I had worked in this industry from anywhere from 5 to 7 years, constantly, consistently as an actor in this business. And what was crazy was, while I did that, I was able to find out how many hours I had worked on a ton of my projects from 2013 to 2019, right? 5,800 hours. Now, think about that. 5,800 hours divided by 6 years. Anybody got a calculator? 5,800 divided by 6 years. That is a very curious number because that is what I didn't do. I didn't know how many hours that was per year. Well, what have you got, Swiftly?
Say it again because I got it pulled up now. Go ahead.
58 hours divided by 6. What you got?
9.66666666.
9 point... what?
6666666.
No, that doesn't make any sense.
58 divided by 6.
No. 5,800 divided by 6. 9,600.
It's a Godzilla video.
9,600? Come on. Is it 9,600? No, it's not. What is it?
5,800 divided by 6?
Yes.
966.66666.
966 hours per year on a film or TV project or music video or, my life as a cool, amazing, blessed to be actor. I really appreciate all the followers. I really appreciate you guys. If you like us, please subscribe, and we will continue this awesome pathway together. Blessings. Peace.